Hello and welcome. If you're getting ready for your IGCSE Physics exam, then you are in the perfect spot. We're about to break down some amazing tips straight from an IGCSE examiner that are going to help you grab every single mark you can. So let's just dive right in.
You know, this is the big question, isn't it? It's not just about knowing the physics. What really makes an answer jump off the page and get top marks? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what examiners are looking for so your paper stands out for all the right reasons.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the golden rules that apply to everything. Then we'll dig into the specifics of the theory papers. And finally, we'll look at how you can absolutely ace the practical exams.
Right, let's start with the absolute fundamentals. Think of these as the core habits you need to build. They are your foundation for success in every single IGCSE Physics paper. If you can get these right, you're already way ahead of the game.
Here they are, the 5 golden rules. First up, read the whole question. Seriously, sometimes the most important clue is buried in the first sentence. Number 2, show all your working. This is your safety net, and we'll see why in a bit. 3, always include your units. Is it joules? Is it meters per second? It really matters. 4, use precise physics terms. You know, vague language just won't cut it. And finally, number 5, do a quick sense check. After you get an answer, just ask yourself, does this number even make sense? It's a simple step that can catch some huge mistakes. And this is absolutely crucial. This comes straight from the examiner's mouth. They don't want you to just copy and paste information from the question. The marks are for applying what you know. You've got to bring your own physics understanding to the table.
Okay, let's zoom in on the theory papers now. This is where you really have to show what you know, how you understand it, and most importantly, how you can apply all those physics concepts to completely new problems.
This is so important. Think about a typical 3-mark calculation question. A full 2/3 of those marks, so 2 marks out of 3, are usually just for showing your method. You know, writing the formula, plugging in the numbers, all that stuff. The final answer itself is often worth just 1 mark. So even if you mess up the calculation on your calculator, showing your work can save most of your marks. It's huge.
And you've got to be so careful with your words. Examiners see these kinds of mix-ups all the time. A student might see the word radiation and start writing about radioactivity when the question is actually about heat transfer. Or they'll see the word current and think it's about electricity when the question is on convection. So slow down, read carefully, and make sure you're answering the question they're actually asking.
Now, some definitions are just, well, they're non-negotiable. You've got to know them by heart, word for word. The definition of a moment is a perfect example. If a question asks you to define it, this is the exact phrase the examiner is looking for.
This is such a great example of why being precise matters. It's true that for a spring, the extension increases with the load. But that's not Hooke's law. The key word, the money word that the examiner has to see is proportional. That one single word is the difference between getting the mark and not getting it.
This is one of those fundamental ideas that can really trip people up if they're not careful. Just remember, speed is just a number. How fast you're going, that's a scalar. But velocity? Velocity is how fast you're going and in what direction. That makes it a vector. Getting this difference is absolutely key, especially when you get to topics like motion. Okay, let's bust a classic myth right now. So many students write that electric current gets used up as it goes around a circuit. Nope, it doesn't. In a simple series circuit, the current, which is just the flow of charge, is exactly the same at every single point. All right, time to switch gears and talk about the practical papers. These exams are a completely different beast. It's all about showing off your hands-on science skills, everything from taking good measurements to drawing great graphs.
You wouldn't believe how many easy marks are lost on graphs, so listen up. Your scale has to be sensible and take up at least half the space on the grid. Always use a sharp pencil, please. Plot your points as tiny, neat little crosses. Then draw a single, thin, best fit line. And so important, label your axes with the quantity and the unit, just like you see here.
This is a massive clue for interpreting your data. If a question asks you if 2 things are proportional, this is the evidence you need. You're looking for a graph that is a perfectly straight line and goes right through that 0, 0 point, the origin. That's the visual proof.
When you're drawing circuits, you have to get this right every single time. An ammeter measures the current flowing through something, so it has to go in the main loop, in series. A voltmeter measures the voltage across something, so it has to be connected in parallel, on the outside. This is such a simple little detail, but it's an easy mark to get and an even easier one to lose. When you draw a results table, your column headings need to follow this format. The quantity, then a forward slash, then the unit. No brackets, nothing fancy, just like these examples. Simple as that.
And one last little tip for the practicals. When you're writing down your final calculated answers, you should almost always round them to either 2 or 3 significant figures. It shows that you're thinking about how precise your measurements really were. So don't just copy down that super long number from your calculator.
So, after all that, what are the big takeaways? If you only remember 3 things, make it these. 1. Read every single word of the question. The clues are always there. 2. Show your method. It's your safety net, and it's often worth more than the answer itself. And 3. Be precise in the words you choose, the units you write, and the graphs you draw. Fondue Tutor is a personalized learning platform that helps students succeed in Cambridge, IB, and other international curriculums with expert mentorship, structured learning support, and engaging resources.